Behind them, the day is not yet finished. A cold shower and bare beckon, but battered machinery sometimes has to be restored to health for the assault on racing Section 2. For some, the problems are weightier than others. Stay with us for more action from the Land Rover Baberspan 1000. For some teams, including Cliff Barker and Mike Redden.
Well, look, we had a bit of a slipping clutch yesterday. We've taken it out and had a look, and it's got a bit of oil on it, so we're reasonably confident we can last the day with it.
Also making an early start in the impound area alongside the Land Rover team were Theo and Eugene Coetzee. The Bloemfontein pair were forced to make a special overnight trip to Johannesburg to pick up spare parts for the Chev Bakkie. For off-roaders, it's all part of the challenge. On the start line, overnight leader Herman Solwald was expecting an early challenge from Klaus Degener.
Ja, ek dink as Klaus glo hy sal ons seker op stadiums inhaal. As hy wil verbygaan sal ons hom laat gaan en hom maar net probeer volg en hoop hy maak 'n fout ergens. En dan maar weer kyk of ons weer kan verbykom.
There were early indications it was going to be a tough day for the Solwalds. Pulling away from the line, ominous clouds of blue smoke were already pouring from the back of the V8-powered Raceco. There was never any doubt that Degener was going to attack from the word go.
Well, I think, that's a V8 power running in front of us there. I think on the straights he's going to leave us standing anyway. So we're just going to keep it clean and try not to have any wrong slots. And keep downtime off the road. If we can keep downtime off, I think we've got a good chance of coming in ahead.
While there was an intriguing battle in store in the special vehicle category, RP Reyneke and Lucas Dreyer had a firm grip on the production vehicle category. Also well placed in the special vehicle category were Wade Perrins and Charles van Rooyen, but they were under early attack from Nardus Alberts and Pieter Mathieu in their Rapsa Raceco. The biggest threat to Reyneke and Dreyer in the production vehicle class were Alfred and Tommy van Vuren in the privately entered Toyota Hilux. As usual, Van Vuren was motoring steadily along and taking no chances. Marius and Edith Verreyn were well placed in the special vehicle category and were going along steadily without any heroics. After a disappointing day one and a near catastrophic moment in the pits when the car caught fire, John Lambert and Eric Scholtz were starting to claw their way back up the field. Niels Eriksson and Johnny Walker were still running strongly, but the Fincham brothers had to make major overnight repairs to their Toyota Land Cruiser to make it to day 2 start. Further down the field, there were mixed fortunes for some of the more fancied teams and for some of the lesser-known battlers. Giel Nel and Johan Grobler were headed for retirement in the Chev Special. Local crew Niels Lemmer and Johan Leroux in a Toyota Hilux was still going strong and second to the Van Vurens in Class E. Also going well were Gelle van der Merwe and Eddie Botha in a Nissan. The pair were third in Class F behind the Coetzee brothers and Ralph Henderson-Jaap Zeeman combination. For Nardus Alberts and Pieter Mathieu in the Rapsa Raceco, the Land Rover Baberspan 1000 was an event they would rather forget. And on day 2, they were overtaken in a cloud of dust by quad racer leader Wikus van Deventer. Running a distant second was Billy Coetzee. And now for something completely different, as Army Roberts demonstrates how not to dismount from a rapidly mobile quad racer. Quad racers 1, riders 0. The intrepid Mr. Roberts looked a little bemused as his trusty steed waited for him to remount. Roberts, with a little help from a vice grip in place of a broken gear lever, had the last laugh when he soldiered home to win his first national championship event. On the bike side, there was drama unfolding. Yuri Human had moved into the lead on the Lesotho Office Equipment Kawasaki when overnight leader Alfie Cox picked up an early puncture. Cox's misfortunes were compounded when he picked up another puncture on the run into the service stop. With Cox forced to slow right down, Richard Manning took advantage to close up on the Pro Action KTM superstar in third place on the Winston Yamaha. The first and only rider ever to win a national championship event on a 200 class machine, Manning was now poised to repeat the feat. Behind him, teammate Darryl Curtis was also in trouble with a flat tyre as he limped towards the service area. The race had suddenly come alive. Chris Dodd was now up to 5th on another Winston Yamaha after a consistent ride. Possible problems were also looming for Dodd because right on his heels he had Alex Vowles on the Antelex Dairy Kawasaki. With the action hotting up, there was also problems for Vowles with Graham McLaughlin on the Lesotho Office Equipment Kawa, also within striking distance. The field had started to close up and Hein van der Walt found himself in the top 10. There was plenty more drama in the service area. Yuri Human's motor was on the verge of seizing. The unfortunate Human could only look on in despair and frustration as the Lesotho Office Equipment team set about replacing the Kawasaki's radiators. While work was being carried out on Human's bike, Cox arrived on the scene with his pit crew forced into changing the rear wheel on the Pro Action KTM. All the while, precious minutes were ticking away.
Hold the bike. Hold the bike. Run, I need you. Push it down, push it down.
It was white knuckle time for Human, Cox and their service crews. While they worked frantically on their respective machines, Richard Manning pulled into the service area. Damaged engine parts told a sad tale where the unfortunate Human was concerned. Human's expression told its own story as Manning, with a fresh load of fuel, left the pits with the Winston Yamaha now in the lead. Great work by Cox's crew saw the little Springboks set off only seconds after Manning, but the excitement was not over yet. Daryl Curtis also needed a tyre change, and this time it was the Winston Yamaha team that had to spring into frantic action. More good work saw Curtis take off after Cox, with Human still in the service area. The whole complexion of the race had taken a sudden turn.
Give these oaks anything, they'll break it, eh?
There's still more drama to come in the Land Rover Baberspan 1000. Out on the car route, a charging Klaus Degener and Thilo van Westenhagen in the BP Raceco had moved ahead of Herman and Karl-Heinz Sulwald. Degener was all aggression, with the Sulwalds battling with a head gasket problem that saw the pair use up 15 litres of oil as they desperately tried to stay in touch with the former champion show jumper. It was a gutsy performance by the brothers as they battled the odds. Local favourites Arpi Reinicke and Lucas Dreyer had a firm grip on the production vehicle category and were third on the road. The pair were trying to close in on the struggling Sulwald brothers, but were not taking any chances. Behind Reinicke and Dreyer, the Marius and Edith Bahrain Toyota Raceco was running in third in the special vehicle category. It was not all wine and roses for the Bahrains. They were gradually coming under attack from Wade Perrins and Charles van Rooyen, who were making a late charge in the Lolet Sandmaster. The Cliff Barker Mike Redden Land Rover was also still going strongly and putting in a late charge. The pair were third in the production vehicle category and were desperately trying to close in on Alfred and Tommy van Vuren in the Toyota Hilux. The unscheduled overnight trip to Johannesburg for spare parts with a Chef Bucky was also paying off for Bloemfontein artist Theo Coetzee and his brother Eugene. They were fourth in the production vehicle category and were holding down a place in the top 10 on the road. There were no dramas either for Alfred and Tommy van Vuren in the Toyota Hilux. The ultra-consistent van Vurens had second place in the production vehicle category in the bag. At the end of the day, the Land Rover Baberspan 1000 belonged to Klaus Degener and Thilo van Westenhagen. For Degener, it was the end of a 3-year drought, and a winning margin of 26 minutes is emphatic in any man's language.
No problems. Clean run from start to finish, and we could afford the luxury, in fact, just to stop at the back there and, when nature called. And picked up a flat wheel in the pan here, and had to go off the route a bit because of the bike making a bit of dust there. And obviously hit a stake and got a back flat wheel, but it got me to the finish.
The brave Sulwald brothers trailed home second overall and second in the special vehicle category after a valiant effort. After battling engine problems all day, a flat wheel at the finish only compounded their problems. Arpi Reinicke's wife anxiously waited at the finish line for her husband and Lucas Dreyer in the dealer team Toyota Land Cruiser. Last year's winners took the production vehicle category by a wide margin and were third overall. Wikus van Deventer on a three-wheel quad racer limped first across the line in the quad category, only to be later excluded from the results for taking a shortcut. For bike winner Richard Manning, there was another slice of South African motorsport history. It was only the second time a national championship event had been won on a 200 class machine.
When I knew I was in front, I just gave it a full go and thought maybe if the guys were going to catch me, I'd make them work for it.
A great win for Klaus Degener and Thilo van Westenhagen in the special vehicle category, followed by the Sewell brothers and the consistent Wade Perrins-Charles van Rooyen combination. R.P. Reneke and Lucas Dreyer took the production vehicle category ahead of Alfred van Vuren and the Land Rover of Cliff Barker and Mike Redden. For the second time, Richard Manning wins a national championship off-road event on a 200 class machine. It was a triumph too for Winston Yamaha with Daryl Curtis and Chris Dodd second and third. With Wikus van Deventer disqualified, Army Roberts took the quad racer category ahead of Christo van der Merwe and Daryl O'Keefe. Highlights of the Land Rover Baberspan 1000 were proudly presented for your enjoyment by Land Rover Genuine Parts.